In Pennsylvania, a peaceful prayer vigil was held in Harrisburg today, a week after violent protests erupted there. Mayor Eric Papenfuss joined the demonstrators on Wednesday, along with Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf. But the community is saying that it still isn't enough and is calling for more action to be taken against police violence and inequality. It was announced late yesterday the city is going to be taking up the 8 Can't Wait challenge. That consists of 8 policies that local governments can adopt to decrease police killings, and they have been shown to work. Joining me now is the mayor, Eric Papenfuss. Eric, thank you for joining me. Good to see you. Let's talk about, first of all, what's going on in the streets of Harrisburg.
Well, it's a beautiful Saturday night here in Harrisburg. It's peaceful. We had protests and demonstrations this afternoon, a prayer vigil on the Capitol steps, and everything went very well. I have to say, despite some of the violence that we had about a week ago, all of these protests have been a great success because we've seen people coming together to demand change at the local level. And I think it's very important that locally elected officials like myself get out, join the protests, and work for that type of policy change.
That's interesting because the way you characterize that is the basis on which this country was founded, protest, and that it's good, and that local officials are the servants of the people. But that's not really what we're seeing all over the country. So how do we ensure that people do see this as taxpayers, citizens wanting positive change, wanting to be kept safe by their police?
Well, that is what we're seeing in Harrisburg. And on a Saturday a week ago, we had some violence around the protests that occurred. And immediately following that, both the governor of the state of Pennsylvania and myself were out marching peacefully through the neighborhoods of Harrisburg with the protesters. Governor Wolf then announced after that march that he's going to push for a number of very serious and important changes on the state level, including the creation of a new inspector general position to oversee and look out for police abuse on the state level. And on the city level, we've announced a number of initiatives, including, as you mentioned, the 8 Can't Wait. And we've set up an email account, and we've actually taken a fairly extraordinary step of engaging with the protesters in a dialogue about how we can make meaningful reforms on the local level. And I think that is the model that our country was founded on, and I'm hopeful that it'll be a model throughout cities in America.
So the 8 Can't Wait. I was talking to DeRay McKesson, who was part of that campaign earlier today. There are 8 things on the list. 6 of them look like they could be implemented very, very quickly. 2 of them I wonder about. They're requiring de-escalation and requiring exhaustion of all alternatives before shooting. That's something that's going to require better training than police cadets get, longer training, a level of training that in many small places like Harrisburg, it's hard to get that kind of curriculum in. What's the way to get there? Because the other things like banning chokeholds, requiring warning before shooting, you can do that. You can implement that as policy almost immediately.
Yeah, and it should be noted that we do have that as policy already in our use of force general order in Harrisburg. We ban chokeholds, and we require de-escalation. It is training. But if you look very clearly in the general orders, it talks about a use of force continuum. It talks about methods of de-escalation that are put into practice every day in our city. And you've seen this at play very recently, but your point is correct, which is that it's going to require focusing on training, and that's going to require resources. And Governor Wolf, at least on the state level, has been very outspoken in saying that he's going to make sure that those resources are available. And on the local level, we're going to do that too. Harrisburg's the capital of Pennsylvania, which puts it in a sort of unique position because we get protests all the time. And we're also part of an overlapping series of police forces in our city. We have the city police, we have the state police, we also have the Capitol Police, which guard the Capitol complex. All of those different agencies not only need the type of training you're talking about, but they also need to make sure that they're coordinated so that there's one common message that is being seen throughout all of these protests.
And a lot of protesters would like one common message across the country about what use of force feels like and what rules apply to police. But we will start with local officials and local mayors and local police forces. Mayor, thanks for joining me. Mayor Eric Papenfuss is the mayor of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.